In the early 20th century, if you needed to traverse the Mohawk Trail between Boston, Albany, and Troy, New York, you took the B&M Minuteman. Between 1926 and the late 1950s, this flagship passenger train offered sleeping cars and high-speed dining as it tore across northern Massachusetts. To make a direct geographic route like this physically possible, engineers had to bore through the solid rock of the Hoosac Mountain, completing a massive 4.7-mile rail tunnel in 1877. The loss of the rail line forced these western counties into a deep reliance on highways and the automobile, separating them from the transit-oriented economic growth that continued to reshape the eastern half of the state. In January 2026, the region took its first concrete step towards bridging that transit desert with a pilot program called Link 413. Looking at this map, 3 new blue bus routes operate to tie the 4 western counties back together, linking Pittsfield, North Adams, Greenfield, and Northampton. Transit authorities avoided basic shuttles, procuring long-distance coaches with Wi-Fi to mirror the comfort of an intercity train. But this bus service is a proof of concept. The Regional Transit Agency needs to gather public comments and demand data to prove that significant demand for the popular lost service still exists. The bus is not a consolation prize or an alternative to the revived rail service, but rather a necessary geopolitical stepping stone. Planners need to see the public response to the Link 413 to justify the multi-billion-dollar investment in the poorly maintained but intact Patriot Freight Rail Corridor for the proposed Mohawk Rail train service. This east-west rail proposal advances just as north-south projects like the Valley Flyer pick up speed. Existing services like the Vermonter push vertical routes up the Connecticut River Valley towards Montreal. Drawing the proposed east-west Mohawk Rail across the map to restore the lost Fitchburg Railroad intersects at Greenfield. In transit planning, a physical intersection creates a network multiplier effect. Passengers can transfer between horizontal and vertical routes, expanding the reach of every station along both corridors. A completed Mohawk rail line integrates these separate regional projects into a comprehensive Northeast transit grid. State officials recently completed the Northern Tier Passenger Rail Study to outline exactly how to build this line. Right now, there is a fierce political debate over 2 competing operational paradigms. The last alternative, which I view as inferior to Alternative 5, is the commuter approach. A passenger would take a local train from North Adams to Fitchburg, disembark, and then wait to transfer onto the MBTA Fitchburg line to finish the trip to Boston's North Station. But look at the map for Alternative 5, however, the intercity approach, with a link to Albany. The line stretches seamlessly through North Adams, providing a continuous one-seat ride. It connects straight into the national Amtrak network, extending to terminuses in upstate New York at Schenectady and the Albany Rensselaer Amtrak hub. Maximizing the region's economic potential requires the reach of Alternative 5. Connecting into a national network offers a far greater return on investment than a local commuter extension. The ideal end state allows a resident to board a train in North Adams and arrive in Albany or Boston without changing seats. To physically upgrade the track along the Patriot Corridor for any of the alternatives, the state needs money. Specifically, they need to win massive federal grants, like the Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Improvements Program, or CRISI. These federal grants are ostensibly data-driven, but largely political in reality. Planners must present hard mathematical proof, community engagement and ridership numbers, and political expediency before the federal government writes a check. Which brings us right back to the Link 413 bus pilot. The transit authorities will note the existence of these infant bus pilot programs and use them as the primary evidence of local desire in their federal grant applications. Writing and supporting the Link 413 bus pilot provides a measurable data point for planners who largely already know the unmet demand for transit is immense in our mostly rural region. Choosing to take the bus instead of driving your car functions as a direct, quantifiable political action. But there are other things you can do as well, such as sending an email comment in FRA-NOFO-support.dot.gov in support of the Northern Tier Passenger Rail Project to reconnect Boston to Western Massachusetts and upstate New York. The path to rebuilding the region's passenger rail system relies entirely on political will at the end of the day, and if Mohawk Rail is demonstrably supported by local constituencies, the U.S. Department of Transportation will recognize the public sentiment and act accordingly. Hopefully. They are civil servants and not political actors. Sending a quick, polite email with your name and address to FRA-NOFO-support.dot.gov in support of Project Alternative 5, or even just riding the damn bus to Mass MoCA or something, provides the exact data needed by the Department of Transportation, both the Massachusetts Department and the federal department, to bring back our train and reinvigorate the communities Mohawk Rail once served, as the Minuteman, the Fitchburg Railroad, and the Troy and Greenfield before that. I definitely want to make a note of Compass Rail, which I didn't bring up in this video and I think deserves its own. I would like to do another video on that at some point. I think this project is not nearly as far along as Compass Rail is. Compass Rail is already receiving some funding, so I'm more concerned about this one maybe getting snubbed from the funding pot, because it's just been kind of dormant for a couple years, but they are doing this pilot bus program that I don't think many people know about, and I really think it's a great service, and if people actually use it, it'll probably be extended to weekends, which it is currently not, but it does have a pretty reasonable Monday-Friday schedule, and I would recommend you go check it out. Yeah, and I also wanted to make a note of, I kind of said that the US DOT was both a political agency and not. It's not, but it's subject to political pressure, so that's why it's important to give them some ammunition to use if they get pressure from, yeah, that's all. Have a blessed day.
3.5 years since the Valley Flyer expanded to 7-day service from Greenfield to New Haven, the Franklin County seat is looking to connect another major metro region to their economy, Boston.
Really gives the state a lot more flexibility in really maintaining its premier position with its workforce, its talent that want to work in a great state, but they can't all live in the metro Boston area.
To give you an idea of what stage we're in here, the most recent newsletter on the project, exploring the differences between commuter train routes and intercity passenger train routes. That affects everything from ticket options to schedule makeup, which federal agencies handle oversight, and even how Amtrak is allowed to utilize the equipment.